But let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 12. I'm going to read for you the story about Jesus healing a man with a withered hand. Now I'm going to read the whole story, and then by the grace of God, we're going to extract some things that the Holy Spirit put my eyes on so that I can help you, by the grace of God, to find out who Jesus really is and how the Lord acted, how he reacted when he has been persecuted, because I'm amazed nowadays and how the Lord actually acted towards unrighteousness, towards injustice when people are being not being helped, or even in persecution, that you see that even the Lord himself can get angry and grieved. You think to myself, man, this Jesus is only kind and gentle and compassionate. Yes, he is. But one thing believers forget, that we have a shepherd. And when you see a wolf coming from somewhere to deceive the sheep and to abuse them in any form or shape, you need to understand one thing about my God. My God is a God of love and light, says the Bible. One of the characteristics of my God is that he is a defender of those who cannot defend themselves, a helper of the fatherless. Now, you have become a child of God. You need to understand persecution is a part of the life of the believer. But I always say, but there are cases in the Bible, and I'm talking about the story about Ananias and Sapphira. That couple that came to deceive and connive the church, and you can read about it in the book of Acts. If you're going to read the story, look there what happened to those people. They dropped dead. Now, I didn't read the Bible. I didn't write the Bible. I didn't write the Bible. I didn't think about the Bible. You know, the Bible was written by the Jewish people, by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, by God himself. Every word is written by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. And I think to myself, you know, that story is there. Now, you need to understand that every situation, every persecution, every single person that you encounter in your life, you need to ask the Holy Spirit for wisdom, how to deal with that person, how to deal with that situation. Now, the last couple of months, I've heard also from fellow believers, well, you know what? Those who do bad things, you don't know what they have gone through. For goodness sake, I think to myself, let's say you as a believer, I'm talking to believers now, you know, people of the world, even they have common sense. I'm talking to believers now. When you have a situation when people are being abused, when advantage is being taken of people at the workplace or in the church or whatever it is, the question is not why the perpetrator does what he does. Maybe he has been through some traumas in his life. Maybe he has gone through something. That's not the question. And honestly, a lot of those people have never been through something traumatic in their life. So it's difficult for believers nowadays to understand that perpetrators are perpetrators for the sake of being a perpetrator. You don't necessarily have to have a bad childhood to do something bad to people. So when you're faced with a situation and people are being abused and taken advantage of, the first question that you need to ask yourself, what would Jesus do in that situation? When you see somebody emotionally abused and somebody cannot defend themselves, you're going to get up, you're going to stand up for this person. Why? Because the Lord himself did this. He protected those who are without protection. He defended, he was never for sin, but he defended the sinner because of those who are so self-righteous, they want to throw stones to sinners when they themselves don't even dare to look in the mirror and to see their own hearts. And I think sometimes people who are like this, we call them hypocrites. If I play a video of your own life, I'm sure we're all going to be shocked of, what transpires or has transpired behind closed doors. I'm sorry. So what I wanted to ask, the first question you need to ask yourself is, which side am I going to take? Am I going to take the side of the perpetrator, of the wolf, or am I going to take the side of the victims? This is a common sense question, and all of us can answer this question in one simple way. You're going to go for the victims. You stand on the side of the victims. It's sick when I see people victimized, and I have somebody, and especially a believer. You know, I recently I said to a very, very good friend of mine, I said, I know a believer, she's from the same family, but she's not my friend. The moment that you take the side of the perpetrator and you try to justify the behavior of that person, you're not my friend anymore. You're of my family, but you are not my friend. And I always side with the Lord. In every situation, I side with the Lord. So just as I say, in every person that you encounter, You need to ask for the wisdom of the Lord. Maybe this person has really been hurt. Maybe this, what he or she is doing can stop by the grace of God. The Lord will lead you and guide you. But when the Lord has clearly said to you, this is a bad person, you need to have nothing to do with this person. This is a person who wants to destroy other people. And I ask you to speak up, or I ask you to do this, or I ask you to pray, or I ask you to do this. You need to listen to the wisdom of God, because it's very difficult for believers nowadays, and for people in general, even those who don't believe, to understand and accept the fact that some people will never change. And do not, please, as a believer, do not always consider powers of darkness and Satan and the devil, that he is involved in the oppression of other people. When you read the book of Romans, I'm not saying that powers of darkness, that demons don't exist. I'm not saying that Satan is not real. But honestly, I choose to be focused on Christ and on His Holy Spirit than on the darkness. You know, what is darkness? What you do, you switch on the light. You don't fight the darkness. You fight a defeated enemy. But what I try to say, yes, there are cases you see also in the Bible that it has to do with powers of darkness, that people are driven literally by powers of darkness, by demons. But there are cases also in the book of Romans chapter 1, you see that people by their own will reject God willingly, knowing that He exists, but rather give the glory to created things than to the Creator. You see also in the book of Revelations, that when Jesus returns to judge the world, there will be that group of people who have never believed on Him, and He will open books and He will judge them according to their works, according to their conscience. Now, then the devil is shut down, is shut for 1,000 years. He is not in the picture. Demons are not in the picture. So then everything comes down to one single thing: free will. Free will. When you read the story about the man that was possessed by a lot of demons, a legion, thousands of demons, the Gadarian demonian, when Jesus stepped out of the boat and he went toward that direction to deliver that man had common sense enough and free will to run to Jesus and not run away from Him, even though he was severely possessed. What I try to say, that you are never so sick, you are never so broke, you are never so out of your mind that the devil can affect your free will. God will respect the free will of every human being, and He will not allow the devil to affect your free will. Now, the devil can influence you, but at the end of the day, the gospel is being preached to everybody. God is just my Father, He will take care and He will make sure that every human being that has been born, is born, and ever will be born, will hear the gospel of justification by faith, so nobody is without excuse. Now, even in the garden, Adam and Eve, they didn't have demons, right? They had a free will, and God gave them dominion over the earth. But the woman partook of that fruit, and Adam chose to say nothing. So, this is, I say, it's amazing. It's a free will. So I say again, every situation is different. You see also the Apostle Paul, there was a story that he cast out a demon out of a girl who was serving her masters. They profit of her for money. So he cast the demon out. And then there was another case when he wished to a sorcerer that he will be blind for a season. So you see, in every certain situation, sometimes Paul, just as the Lord, sometimes the Lord is addressing the demon, sometimes the Lord is addressing the sickness, sometimes the Lord is addressing the person, and especially pertaining to the Pharisees. I never see Jesus, when he's talking to the Pharisees, that he tells them, the fact that you're like this is because you have a demon. So pertaining to the Pharisees, the religious leaders, Jesus never addressed a demon. And by the way, there is a whole chapter. I don't know, I went down the rabbit hole. Doesn't matter. There is a whole chapter in the book of Matthew. I think it's Matthew 23. Go read it for yourself. Matthew 23. When Jesus addressed the Pharisees, a whole chapter, bro, is from verse 1 till verse 36. Go read it for yourself. You're going to find out that in that chapter, never the Lord said, the fact that you're like this, the reason that you're like this because you have a demons. No, friend.